Hello, you are listening to the Gamer Librarian Podcast, the best podcast you can find on this side of the multiverse. I am your host, Adrian, and today I will be talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, Dune by Frank Herbert, and more. Afterwards, be sure to subscribe to be notified when future episodes are released and show your support by liking and leaving a comment. Thank you for joining. We are back on another great Monday. Sadly, it is raining right now, which is pretty sad. Hopefully you guys are able to be in someplace sunny or warm or whatever, because I'm dying for summer. I really am. I want to start going to the beach and everything. So I'm also camping, right? I really, really, really want to start going to more camping trips. Maybe somewhere in Delaware or PA or somewhere this year. That's usually what we try to do. But yeah, we have a whole big week of gaming news behind us and ahead of us, right? So we had the Nintendo Direct, and then we have a whole bunch of like hands-on stuff. I know that Doom, um, Dark Ages also has like a hands-on event going on now, and we're getting Bungie's new game, whatever it is. It's like their um, new version of like an old game that they made for like 30 years ago. I forget the name, Mirage or something. And I'm actually kind of excited to see what that looks like. I don't really know. I don't know when it's going to happen. I think it's later this week. So ultimately, yeah, we have a whole lot of stuff to talk about. And there's gaming news that happened like today and throughout the week. So before we even talk about the direct, I think we should go into some of the other stuff that came out, like the Marvel Rivals Season 2 trailer, which I think showed off like the character uh, cosmetics that you would have from like the battle pass, right? Which is pretty cool. I'm not more interested in that, but it was like narrated and shown off the character Emma Frost, which is awesome. She's a awesome X-Men character, and this is an X-Men themed kind of expansion. We're going to Krakoa with the Hellfire Gala. I love that. Now, some of the X-Men stuff is a little too far out there. Like I don't like when it gets too deep into aliens and then like demons and stuff. Like I don't. That's not my brand and butter of X-Men. But ultimately, Emma Frost is a big, deep character. She's pretty heavy in the lore and influential to like the story for a majority of them. Not just as a villain, but like even more recently as like I would guess like a hero antagonist, kind of that same vibe, right? I think nowadays the state of X-Men is more like it's if you're a mutant, it's always mutants first, period. Like that seems like kind of the narrative that X-Men has been going, at least in the comics. And it's coming out the season 2 April 11th. That's so soon, and I'm so excited. I played in some matches before, got in some Human Torch, and I want to start playing more characters like Magic and the Human Thing. But there's just so much other things to do. But yeah, it was fun going back to Marvel Rivals. It's still fun and it still works. Like right, like it actually I think it works even better now. Like the connection is just a little more, um, concise and just everything's just there. Right, the whole thing is just really really fun to play. They're also changing the structure that the seasons will come out, which is pretty awesome. So we're going to get them, I think, a little bit faster, right? We're going to get like half seasons or so, like every month and a half or so, which is kind of decent. Um, I don't know. I kind of wish they had like a timetable, not like just like interview words for it. But yeah, there was the article for IGN and stuff like that talking about the changes that happening in season 3, which is going to be pretty fun, right? So we're getting season 2 and season 3 talk. So I like that they kind of have an idea of what to do ahead of time, which works out really well for I guess the future of this game, just because they have an idea of who's coming up, what characters are expected, how they're going to implement them, and just a way to flow the game with more extra content. Now, game modes and characters and maps, I think is probably more needed rather than like the cosmetics. I think they need to start doing more legacy cosmetic stuff too. I think that they're holding off on them for maybe some kind of stupid battle pass that they're going to try and do at some point there. But I know that characters like Venom got his orange skin, which is weird and wacky. And all that's fun. Like I feel like there's like even like the video game skins from like the video games that we've seen just from all the Marvel history that they have there. It just feels like there's really not enough emphasis on those costumes, and like they're all very flashy and stuff. But you have some baseline ones that if you just had them there, the game would instantly just get more money, and that means more longevity for the game. So it's really weird that they didn't have like a list of like, oh, we're just gonna have costumes that we mandatorily have to have into the game. It all seems very weird for whatever they're doing. And then obviously there's like the MCU stuff, which I'm not really going to talk about, for the most part, but I do feel like the MCU content, not just the comics, is kind of also influential to this game, which is sad because that always happens for these Marvel games. It's happened to Marvel Capcom Infinite. Yeah, we can't talk about that. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of changes that they have for Marvel Rivals coming up. I would hope maybe also like new collectibles they have. I guess the comic big text walls are okay with its art, and I guess you can call that a wallpaper if people really care about that. But I feel like there's not really enough warranting a lot of longevity to the game, just besides like just ranking up and then kind of unlocking the cosmetics slowly. They have those weird tokens or um, trophies, I guess they call them. I guess like I have like an orb. I haven't looked at them in a while, but I only have like two. I don't know what they're going to be used for, but maybe they'll announce that later on. Who could really say? So enough about Marvel Rivals. BAFTA announced that the most influential video game of all time was a game called Shenmue, and I have never played Shenmue. I've never played it. I've heard a lot of people talk about it online, whether it was kind of good or bad. I feel like I've seen gameplay for it, and just the small amount of gameplay for it. It's like a samurai game. It wasn't the vibe for me, just from those little glances. But I know that like people like Maximilian is pretty fond of games like Shenmue, whether they're good or bad, and just the very fact that BAFTA is like recognizing that this game might be the most influential of all time kind of seems um, really intriguing to me, and I kind of want to check them out now. I just want to maybe see what the game was actually like and see what the history is. I just thought that was really cool. BAFTA is the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's a European-based, or I guess a UK-based award acknowledgement association, which is pretty awesome. So acknowledging a game like Shenmue being the most influential game of all time is pretty massive. I don't know what I would even call what the most influential game of all time because I feel like just as long as there's more games being able to be made, they're all pretty influential. Like as if you've played them, whether they're good or bad. Um, but maybe I'll have to see, because maybe that's what they mean, right? It's influential because a lot of iterations of Shenmue. Because what I know, there's like three Shenmues, right? One, two, and three. So maybe somewhere in those games, there's multiple good and multiple bad ones, just by perspective or preference or objectivity, whatever. And that's pretty interesting to me. So I'm going to say it. Shenmue, the franchise, shot up for me to be playing in the future just because uh, hearing, like an actual association that's probably not really even familiar with video games because they're probably really old people. I'm not going to look into it, but I assume it's like everywhere else. Everywhere is just full of old people that don't know because everything's computers now, right? That's what I'm going to assume. I'm going to assume, and they just did like a poll and a rating. So yeah, who could say? But I'm interested in checking it out now just because that piqued my interest. And for me, I don't usually do the whole like I'm gonna look up gameplay and then see if that game really is a game for me and do that history. Like, nah, I want to judge a game by when I get it in my hands or download it and I hit start. That is when I start objectifying and judging a game is when after I hit start. That's pretty cool, and I want to check it out. So Shenmue shot up to like at least top 10 like game I want to play before maybe the end of the year. There's not really a whole lot of games that I want to play. I got to finish, but there's games coming out that I'm probably going to play as well. I just never hold stock that games that have announcements are going to, stick those announcements until the day they come out. It's, for like a month or so, or they announce that they went gold or something like that. And yeah, so up in the future, one of the Senmu games, probably the first one will be played sometime. That's pretty awesome. Really, really awesome. And the Minecraft movie is the best domestic box office video game adaptation of all time. I never would have expected that. I mean, you can kind of foresee it, maybe just because like Minecraft is kind of maybe a bigger thing than Mario, like a lot of more younger, like a more population-based amount of people grew up in Minecraft rather than grew up with Mario, I would say specifically. Just maybe. And yeah, that's the only way I could see it, and maybe because like it's weird or stuff. I heard it was bad. I heard it was really, really bad, so I feel like nobody saw it. But that's crazy, and it's only going to go up now, especially hearing things like this. That's pretty cool. I'm definitely going to see it at some point. Probably won't pay money for it, but that's pretty awesome. I like Minecraft. I don't think Minecraft's bad. I feel like the Minecraft mod scene is really what like eats itself. Like a lot of those games where like if you just make a mod for it, it could just like improve itself. But like maybe you want a game that's built upon a better baseline and maybe has those mods implemented into it, and then you can bake in more intricate, more elevated experience. So, that's just why I think like Minecraft 2 was supposed to be, and it seems like that game is completely canned, right? Who could say what's going to happen with Minecraft and the Microsoft Lens that was announced in like 2014? That yeah, I remember that. I remember that they did that. So yeah, it's just crazy to see that the Minecraft movie is actually doing really, really, really well, taking over Mario. I don't know about global. I don't really care about global. Um, uh, Actually, it has 301 million. That's pretty awesome. But overall, that's awesome for Minecraft. I'm gonna watch that at some point. So we have AI being able to generate games in real time. So they had a Microsoft Quake 2 AI prototype, which it's a replica of Quake, and I don't think any of like the real assets are from Quake, but it has like the HUD, it has the like style, the movement, gameplay probably, maybe like far more intricate controls. And Jeff Keighley talked about it, which is pretty crazy that we could just have AI generating games now. The article does go into more detail. Every frame is generated on the fly by an AI model, apparently. I could definitely see this being used as a tool just to, you know, make a game, just the assets or just whatever, and then you build upon it, like you add stuff. I don't know. It's crazy that we're getting to this point. Like we're just having AI generate like tech models for us for games. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be like super intricate. Like we're not going to get gameplay or stuff, but you could just tell the model what kind of style to build, and who could say? It's a crazy time to be talking about the AI building games. So like all those companies just might be you know, in danger if people could just talk to an AI and then a game pops out, right? That would be wild. Um, yeah, I think that's all the articles for specifically just today to talk about. So we're going to talk about a little more of the Nintendo stuff now. Part of the Nintendo Direct is they announced the release date for it and the price. The price is a big speculation. I'm comfortable with like the announced 450 or so. The 500 with the Mario game is not too awful, but apparently now that the tariffs have, become a larger effect and have been put onto Japan, we're probably going to see the prices of the Switch go a little higher, most likely. Games I don't know about, but the Switch certainly. And it's it's a sad time because I guess Nintendo already raised the price already from what maybe the Switch 2 was, which is, totally expected. You could totally expect that. It's been like almost 10 years, it was 2016 the Switch came out, which is crazy. Truly, truly crazy. These gaming company stocks, not just the big three, but even Bandai Namco, Konami, Sega, Capcom, and Square, apparently, even like the motor companies is doing pretty bad. Their stocks are just plummeting because of that, and that's crazy. I could see a lot of other reasons. I'm sure with maybe some of these AI generated stuff being talked about, maybe some of those companies' stocks went down a little bit because just of the same thing. Um, this article was also from today, just the stocks, but that's an overarching thing. I feel like that's probably fluctuated since the announcement of the Switch and then all kinds of stuff. And then also today it's with the Switch 2. The tutorial game that's separate from the console itself apparently is $10, which is awesome. I kind of thought it was going to be more money. That's not too bad. $10 is totally fine. I don't know why it's not free in the console. Um, who can say like it's not part of the console packet, which is odd because I feel like the Nintendo Wii kind of had that. Even the Switch had something like a little tutorial, not like a full-fledged game. Um, but I guess like they're trying to go the route of something like um what was this Sony's one game of the year, Astrobot. They had a version like that, and then they had a much bigger game, right? So who could really say what they're gonna do for this? So $10, I don't know. Wii Sports, I feel like was that kind of thing, and they didn't charge for Wii Sports. And I liked Wii Sports. That spawned like the whole franchise for their thing. So I don't know. Maybe that's why they tried to get this time. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. I'm excited. If it's $10, I'm gonna buy that game, that little tutorial thing. It'll probably be the first thing I boot up on the Switch, and we'll talk about it. So like, yeah, I'm gonna try my best to get the Switch. I would really like to. That'd be really fun. They have pre-order options and wait lists, stuff like that online. And but with the tariffs, the pre-orders are, up in the air. So I'm gonna really do my best to get those. But they put out a bunch of stuff about their carts, which I feel like is fair, right? They have like a change to the micro SD cards and how the way that the carts are working with like being a code or just on there. I I don't know. I don't really specifically care. I don't necessarily want to say whether I like that I own games or not. I don't really care about it. It's not a big deal to me. Right? Like I have a bunch of physical games. Most of them are like at home. They don't do anything. But like if I sell them, I'll just get like fraction of whatever I got. I can just give them away. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe I'll just give them away here on the podcast. That'd be kind of fun. But I don't really attach to the physical games and the digital library. I don't feel like it's going to go away anytime necessarily soon because a lot of these companies, they're still around. They still kind of work with their games. And, as long as I play them and beat them for the most part, I'm not super worried about it. Also, ROMs exist. I'm not afraid of downloading games for free. I've been doing that for years. So, like, it's not really a big deal. We're going to be able to do that in the future with all these games. I know that like the PS3 and Xbox 360 era, and I know like even the Switch is able to be like on the like Switch games are being able to be played on PC hardware. Like Zelda's been able to be on there for a while. I think the Mario Party games or something like that. And, Nintendo's always trying to combat that. But, the other people, the people who aren't tied to a corporation where they only want to put out games just specifically for money, um, they just want to be able to have access to the games if they're not going to be able to be purchasable or playable. But we're getting library like the GameCube service on the Switch too, which is totally fine. I feel like maybe not announcing what the lineup will be at launch. I don't think they did the full lineup, but um, games like Luigi's Mansion and stuff like that, it's all cool. But you could just get them for free on play them on a Steam Deck, right? Um, and then they're gonna be locked behind that service, the online service. Um, I I do really wish that they put out something with like, oh, here's just the Switch 2 and the all four generations of the Pokemon games just for free. Like all versions of them, right? You get like Fire Red, Leaf Green, Gold, Silver, Crystal, and right. I feel like those older games just could be put out for free, and you had like a service with Pokemon Go on it. I'm surprised they didn't announce like Pokemon Go, which is inherently on the Switch too, as part of like whatever they want to do with these Pokemon games. I don't know. Maybe that's like already just assumed because I think it is an app on the Switch, but I'm just disappointed with some of the Pokemon games not being the forefront because it's just like I feel like they really don't know how to handle Pokemon these days. Uh, like I'll say it, ZA or whatever it is, it looks fun and cool, but it doesn't really even look pretty. It doesn't. And these games, like Metroid 4 looks pretty cool, but Donkey Kong looks gorgeous, gorgeous. I don't know why Pokemon can't look like that. It makes me sad. It makes me really sad. Um, the bigger thing, which I guess is a Nintendo product, if we're gonna talk about whether it is or not, but I'm gonna assume here that the Dusk Bloods is like a Monster Hunter Rise situation where maybe they don't have the full exclusive distribution rights to this game. So it'll probably maybe be exclusive on the Switch for a while, maybe like a year or two, or until like they have a DLC ready. And I feel like I only had I only had this knowledge from Max just because I heard it from his stream where Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak DLC came out same day on all consoles. Like I feel like maybe if Dustblood's ported, it'll be the same thing. I don't mind. I feel like that's awesome. And this game is coming out way later in the future, so things might even change. It's announced now as a Nintendo Switch exclusive. That might change. Who could super say? So obviously we're gonna get Night Rain before we get Dust Bloods, and it's going to be a fun time. As a FromSoft fan, I'm only excited. I've seen people be like, "Oh, they're just doing more multiplayer stuff, or they're not doing, surprisingly, Dark Souls 4 or Elden Ring 2," and I'm like, "We're getting it Night Ring. Why do you want Elden Ring 2?" I don't know. And for Dust Bloods, they did it, man. It's it's Sony wouldn't put out anything about Bloodborne, and I guess maybe like FromSoft was maybe already on this game beforehand, and Sony just was too late, and Nintendo super beat them. But the fact that they got the original director, Hidetaka Miyazaki, I mean, I feel like this game is everything. Just like people always say they want a Bloodborne sequel, and I would kind of treat that to the same thing as like what really is a sequel to like the Dark Souls games. They're kind of really ultimately the same thing. And unless like you're the people that like super get into the lore, the experience is ultimately the same. And I think maybe with Bloodborne it would kind of be the same, where like do you want a Bloodborne with the same lore, or do you want like a Bloodborne that's a different kind of game? Like same setting or not, same lore or not, same characters or not. I don't necessarily care because I like the lore of Bloodborne. And I feel like Bloodborne is kind of, fully complete as its lore goes. I don't know if there's any plot holes that really matter. I don't know. It's not really a big deal to me. But yeah, I know a lot of people really want a Bloodborne too. But now we're getting the Dust Bloods, made by the same director, same company, and I don't see this being anything but a almost similar experience. Now, it being a multiplayer game, I just feel like that's icing on the cake. That might be a better experience. I imagine they'll probably still have a way to play like solo, like on the map. Maybe they'll have like an AI thing playing as the other um, enemies or your companions. Because I feel like they have that already with like the summon system in the other games. Like they have ways to have these AIs work with their systems. So I'm super intrigued to see whether or not the Dust Bloods would be playable like offline, and you could just fight with the classes that you can choose, because it's a class-based game. You're not making a character and finding gear, as far as we could tell. It's just there's like a whole article you can read from Nintendo with Miyazaki talking about it, and it's awesome. I mean, I'm just super excited that FromSoft is the company, right? Like in terms of like what is a gaming company to like the industry, right? Nintendo was always super big. Sony had like their time for a long time, and nowadays, people like Capcom, people like Square Enix, if you like those companies, that's cool. And you like them in certain times, I think fluctuate. But I think ever since like the iteration of, and I'm going to say it, Demon Souls, ever since Demon Souls, they have been absolutely cooking with their Souls games. And I personally don't like Dark Souls 2. I feel like it's the worst out of the Souls games, but it's still a Souls experience, and I still super enjoy it. Sekiro is like an outlier to their genre. They killed it right there. And let's I'm Armored Core. Armored Core is so fucking sick. That game is like parallel to me with Elden Ring and Bloodborne. Like it's those three are the best FromSoft games of all time. I would love to go back and play the Armored Core games. I know they put them. I think three of them just got put on the PSN network on top of the ones that are already playable from like the over the years. Awesome, super awesome. I mean, this one just blows it out of the park. It controls so well. I know I'm going back in time if I go play the sequels, and it's going to be a worse experience, but I don't care. I think it's going to be really fun sometime in the future. But yeah, FromSoft is really, really killing it. I'm super glad that somewhere along the line, Nintendo or FromSoft got together and they made this happen. For an exclusive that coming out 2026, maybe I'm super excited. I feel like it's going to be a really good time for Nintendo. Dust Bloods, it does really, really cool. And more excitingly, Kirby Air Riders. That's so sick that we're getting Kirby to return. I am so in love. I'm so in love. That's an instant purchase, and it's from Sakurai. Of course, of course. Like you get the people that worked on the previous game, and you make them make it, and you make it better. You give them more money, not just to work with the game and make it better, but you pay them more. That's what I hope. Whether or not that's what happens, but all the fans of like Kirby games know how big this is. I love Kirby Air Riders. Whether you don't like spin-off games like that, whether you don't like Sonic Riders or like Crash Riders, Crash Kart, whether you don't like those games or not, I love when these spin-off games get made. I love it. It's just more content in franchises and worlds that are a little more appealing to different players, right? People like racing games. I love racing games. We're getting Mario Kart World, and that's an open world game. This game's going to be so sick. Kirby Air Ride is going to be the game. I'm the most excited for that game on Switch. It's my most anticipated game for that console. That Dust Bloods. I love Donkey Kong. I've only ever really completed Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze in terms of those mainline Donkey Kong games, but Bonanza's an instant purchase that comes out I think like October or something, and Metroid Prime 4, of course. So pretty much every Switch 2 exclusive except for that one with the wheelchairs, I will be getting. I will not be getting that wheelchair one. I just feel like that's kind of insulting to some people. Now that's awesome to something, but I don't know. It's like, oh, arms didn't work. Let's try a game based on just taking away people's legs. It's very odd. But that game doesn't necessarily even look like that fun anyway. But all the other games on Nintendo Switch 2 look super, super sick. And before then, whether it comes out June or not, right? I think it's June 5th was the release date. Whether or not it does come out by then, I got a whole bunch of games to finish, right? I got to do the Metal Gear Solid playthrough before May, and then we gotta go and do. I want to finish Path of Exile, and then I got to do the Yakuza game still. So there's still some time to finish some of these games. I wish I could have done some Metal Gear Solid too, but I don't feel like playing that game without a walkthrough because it's just too much with those cards and remembering where the doors are specifically. But this weekend I did get some time into the new Path of Exile 2 update and the Monster Hunter Wilds update. So first, Path of Exile 2, I just downloaded the update and I want to try out a new class and was having trouble running the game for some reason this time, even just on like just the console itself, the PC. Usually if I plug it into like a monitor, it runs really, really smooth, but I don't know, it just wasn't running well this time. But I tried out the Huntress, and Huntress is all right. Huntress is pretty cool for the most part. Kind of hard to learn her. I feel like she doesn't have that many unique abilities so far, especially early on. I'm only like level 7 with her. I really want to just get more into it, but like I want to play more of Path of Exile. But this is a game that I was like gonna play off intermittently between other games and all kinds of stuff. But I did actually get to do some Monster Hunter Wilds, do the update, killed fought Mizutsune and Arc Tempered Raidao, which was super, super fun. And tried out some of the bubbles, not bubbles, it's the the bowling game that they have. They have like a barrel bowling. You able to like you have to use vouchers or something to like access it. So you get like 3 or 5 once you like initially activate it in the new hub area, which is pretty cool. I wish the hub area was, a little more extravagant, had like a little more things to do. Yeah, you do like arm wrestling, which is also pretty cool. And I feel like there would maybe more stores or something. I don't know. The hub area just seems like another place just to go to really just really just communicate with people. But like, there's no like actual use to it other than like the little party stuff, which is awesome. But yeah, you have to use vouchers for the bowling, and the bowling's fun. Bowling is super super fun. But yeah, it's a cool update. I'm gonna love to see what they do next for the update. You get some side quests and stuff as well. So did some of those. It's like getting the story quest girls glasses and stuff. Some of the side quests are a little annoying to try and navigate through and figure out. But ultimately, yeah, that was super fun. Loved doing the Monster Hunter update. So we have a game coming out pretty soon, and it's like comes out in May. whether it's I think full early access or not, I don't really know, but I will be playing it. And I'm only playing it because I'm intrigued as a fan. I am intrigued into this game as a fan, and I wasn't able to get into the initial closed early access or whatever they did like last year. And whether or not that's fine, but I want to play that game. So I will be purchasing it, and that is Dune Awakening. I'm only intrigued in this game as a fan. I feel like everything else about it isn't what I want in a Dune MMO. It's not what I want. It's not nearly as intriguing to me. It's personally just not. But I still want to play it. I want to try it, and I want to give it like an experience and try it out. I did the you could download the tech um what is it, like analysis or whatever, the benchmark test. You could download the benchmark test and the character creator, and I can play the game. The benchmark test, it says I can play it on the laptop, which is going to be super cool. And what I want to do is just give it a normal try because I love Dune and that seems awesome. But there's things about the Dune MMO that just really don't sit well with me. And the biggest one is that you cannot play as a Fremen. That is my biggest, biggest gripe to the whole experience. And I don't know. That just to me is just because I want to play as the Fremen. And they said that they're gonna add that maybe later on or stuff. And the other thing that's a big gripe, and it's probably a bigger gripe to a lot of people, is you could also um the story that is in it is not the same story as maybe any of the previous books are kind of about, or the normal setting of Dune, like the base book of Dune, Frank Herbert, not the same thing. Paul Atreides is not a character. He's dead or never born or something, and nothing's the same. So the experience right there is very different, and I want to give it like just a full breath and just try it out before. 'Cause I don't care if the lore is super accurate. I understand like some games just kind of need to, you know, whether or not they branch out and that branch out kind of makes things not work. I don't care. So like the story in that way isn't a negative to me, but it's because of the story being that way that the Fremen aren't in there, and that's why I dislike that. That's what makes me upset, and I want the Fremen to be in there. But I will be trying to play the game, and you can make like some character choices for your class or your how your character plays, which is fine. I don't know how many I'm gonna try out. I'll probably try out at least two other classes. I picked a Ben Gesserit this first time, and I might pick just a normal soldier or something for the second character. But we're gonna try this game out. I'm gonna play this game so much. 'Cause I'm so excited for it. Like I've been in the MMO mood, so I did also download Final Fantasy 14, and I'm going to be trying to level up my side classes and stuff. I know I have the Dawn Trail DLC on just the PS5 version, but I don't have a keyboard here, so I'm playing on the laptop, and that's just what I'm doing right now. But intermittently playing those other games, we'll be trying to do the Dune books for the Dune MMO, right? So I'm going to be finishing the Dune main series by Frank Herbert. There's like maybe 6 or 7 books. The last one is like Chapter House of Dune or something. I'm going to be doing that for the first time, reading it full through. The furthest I've gotten is Children. I have the 3 books here: Dune, Messiah, and Children. It's the furthest I've gotten, and I'm super excited. I have never gotten past Children. I barely even remember it. I probably never even actually finished it. But I know I liked Messiah. Messiah was actually really interesting. And I just finished the first Dune again. Finished 800 pages in these last like 4 days. Super, super excited. And it's going to be a good time, whether or not the Dune lore matches to anything like this. Like, I don't care about that. What I care about is if the game experience is actually fun from from the start, making a character going into combat for the first time, seeing whatever they decide is like the ending and the end game for the like I want to experience what their iteration of of a Dune MMO is. And that comes with all the facets, all the caveats in it, even the janked lore and the uh the atrocity that is not being able to play as a Fremen. Awful, awful. So other than that, I am just excited for it. It's going to be a good time. So we're gonna have to wrap it up pretty soon, but we have some other things to talk about. I didn't get a chance to read the comics that came out recently. I know we had Martian the Manhunter chapter one of the Absolute series, right? Absolute Wonder Woman chapter six, and then Superman and Green Lantern, right? So we have all that. That will be for next week. But what I did get a chance to do is some manga, of course, right? So what I could read was One Piece 1145. Holy shit. Those kids were about to be burned to death. And this will not be the last time I talk about kids being burned to death in this episode. I actually kind of sort of talked about it before, but because it's part of Dune, the TV show Dune Prophecy, I'm watching it for this, right? I'm on like episode three, not really to spoil anything, but maybe a kid does get burned to death in the Dune show. Pretty crazy. So like I'm pretty hooked on it. It's pretty intriguing whether or not the Dune show is accurate to the book lore and whether or not the Dune show is going to be relevant to the MMO, which would actually be really cool if it was. That would be really, really sick if it was. I'm super enjoying the show. It feels like it has Game of Thrones vibes right now, which is pretty cool because it has that intrigue. It has the really cool like sets and motifs and these long drawn out political talks, and then also sex. So yeah, it's just fun. It's enjoyable. But yeah, One Piece, kids almost get burned, and now we're getting into the fights, right? So now the knight, I don't remember her name, but the first like female knight, she has like this weird spiral attacks. Um, she's apparently gonna start fighting the Straw Hats. I'm so excited. It's gonna be so cool. Um, Eventually, because of the One Piece manga picking up again, I will be watching the anime starting from probably Cake Island and then redoing Wano maybe, or maybe I just start off in Wano somewhere towards the end and then go on because that's why I stopped. I stopped at like um Cake Arc, and then I just really don't really want to watch Wano stuff again. Like I'm not really super into the Wano arc experience. I think it's all over the place, but the overall story is phenomenal. Like I will acknowledge that it's awesome. The experience of Wano is super awesome, but I mostly just want to see like the ending parts of it animated and just get into Egghead and then where we are now in the manga, Elbath, beautiful, beautiful Elbath. It is cool. Elbath is a cool island. I like it. Um, Sadly, unfortunately, the writer Irie Yonemoto for Wild Strawberry is sick. They put out another point one update for chapter 41, saying that they're sick. I hope that they get better. I truly do because that's sad. That's sad being sick. I hate being sick. It sucks. And their story, Wild Strawberry, is phenomenal. So I just want them to be able to, be well enough to work on the story that they want to work on and be able to finish something that they started. I know that a lot of writers, you know, in history get sick and are unable to complete things. And I want the best for all the people who want to put up things out there. That's what I want. Vinland Saga 218. Yo, so sad. Yo, like I'm distraught. I'm actually distraught over that chapter release. I know it came out a bit ago, but like I finally read it. I'm so distraught. Um, I'm not gonna spoil it, but holy shit, I love this manga. We did Chainsaw Man 195 to 198. Things are kicking off now, right? I don't know whether or not we're gonna get some big ultimate fight here because we're nearing chapter 200, and Denji's kind of just being, coerced into killing his friend and his like they're both with devils and stuff, so they don't want to kill or do anything like that, which is crazy. And then we have the Death Devil, or I guess now the Famine Devil, also showing up with the chef. I love the chef one. The Chef Devil is pretty intriguing. The I forget what the name is, but that manga is pretty cool. We have the Chainsaw Man movie also coming out soon. I don't know if there's like a full trailer out now. I think there's a teaser, but I'm super excited. And then Dan the Dan 189, awesome fight. We're getting some cool new robot moves for some of these characters. I want to watch these fights animated. That's what I mostly want. This manga's been pretty dope so far. and we definitely got to start wrapping up. So like the last thing I want to talk about was the TV shows, and we did a little bit of Dune Prophecy. So we'll be finishing that show. I think it's only one season. Don't know if it's ever going to get a season two, but we'll definitely be finishing that by the time next episode comes out. And by then we'll hopefully be done with Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. And the last show I want to talk about is just White Lotus, how awesome White Lotus was. We saw the finale of it. It didn't play out the way I wanted it to. I feel like it kind of played off a little less than lackluster than what they were kind of building up for. But ultimately, that was really, really enjoyable. So, yeah, we're definitely going to have to cut it here for the episode. And, I will catch you all next Monday. Peace.